the FS Elite Theatre. For the next seminar, we have Mobiflight. Very quickly, just housekeeping. The exits are down here, and we have some at the top as well. If you are going to leave the theatre mid-presentation, please just come down the stairs and then head over to this direction. But we don't want you to leave because these guys are going to talk about some really cool stuff for you. So without further ado, please welcome to the stage, Mobiflight.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for having us. Yeah, I brought also Thomas with me. So,
hello.
Yeah, he's part of the Mobiflight moderator team and a big asset to our Mobiflight project. So we are very glad and privileged to be here. And I would love to know quickly who has heard of Mobiflight before. Can I see some hands? Wow, that's
like a half.
Yeah. No, I would say that's the majority. Yeah. Great, but for anyone who does not know what Mobiflight is about, Mobiflight helps you to create home cockpit components and connect them easily to your favorite flight simulator. I think that really wraps it up very quickly and nicely. So the challenge in this process where we design and we build things for our home cockpit is where it comes to connecting them. Yeah, we can build and design using open source tools. And with Mobiflight, we can also use open source tools for connecting and configuring. Who has built something for themselves? Like additionally to a joystick that you have, who has something else DIY? That's actually not so many. I'm surprised. You should really give it a try. Open source is awesome. Right? Because, why is open source awesome?
Because nobody's going to take it away from you.
That is one thing. Yeah, that is one thing. We share with open source. Open source is very powerful because of the availability of the code, but it is also very powerful because of the community that is making like the open source project really successful and appealing to anyone who wants to join. And the really cool thing about open source projects is that you do not necessarily have to be a software developer. You also contribute to the project by all these things that we have there, like providing bug information or sharing ideas or just interacting with the rest of the people of the community, sharing your knowledge and ideas and things that you learned, right?
Yeah.
That's extremely powerful. We have a huge community actually with Mobiflight. We have over 6,500 people registered on our Discord server who share ideas and help each other and ideate together around the home cockpit building topic. And one thing that is also really nice about Mobiflight is that it is very flexible. It scales with your ideas. It can be small, just a panel with a button, or it can be a full-size cockpit that you build, and Mobiflight is going to be the same tool for you throughout this process. Advance. So this is a selection of things that people are building with the help of Mobiflight and that community members are sharing on our Discord server. I mean, Thomas.
Yeah, this is a lot of discussion and a lot of thumbs up emojis and people getting excited and figuring out how to do things. And it might have a side effect of finding new tools on your garage or workshop and kind of ending up in a bit of a rabbit hole in a fun way. And figuring out if you have a makerspace nearby and that might have a laser cutter, for example, to make panels.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's extremely impressive of what people actually come up with and are able to build with tools that are readily accessible for home usage. Like 3D printing was a huge accelerator. And at the end, they always get to the point that they want to connect it to their favorite flight sim, where they then also use Mobiflight for. But the point here is Mobiflight is not only a tool. Mobiflight is a whole community with great ideas. And we see that there is a lot of positive feedback about Mobiflight. If you look at our GitHub repository, we have over 200 stars, people that like the project on for this kind of niche project. That's, in my opinion, very, very fantastic. And we also have 30 contributors over the time now who have contributed actually software code to the Mobiflight code base. That is super amazing, because when I started this project 10 to 13 years ago, I always had this dream of having people helping me, so that not only is on my shoulders, but it took a little while, but we are there now. It's so cool to have this very, very exciting feedback from the community, that people take their time and they dedicate it to making Mobiflight better for everyone.
And it's not just code. So people are helping each other get started and help each other to kind of refine and figure out how to do things and how to build, what to build, and how to make the panels and the sim experience better. And also contribute documentation. We have a wiki on GitHub that people share, like how to do this and how to do that. And
yeah, so this is actually going beyond this, so there are even more contributing. Quick shout out to everyone who is on this list. Thank you so much for helping. Applause real quick. I know that at least one person is here in the audience.
I know that guy who was on the top corner.
Yeah.
But luckily there are others too.
Yeah, that is true. And another cool community effort that we're doing is we are collecting so-called presets, and presets make configurations a lot easier for everyone when they assign a certain function to their button or want to make an LED turn on and off. We have collected over 28,000 presets as a community effort, which is also mind-blowing and shows that how people are really liking the idea of open source and being able to contribute and engage with everyone. Last year was super exciting. That is just a small recap. We had our 10th anniversary, and we also had version 10. And with version 10, we also had some really cool features added. And one is that we are now able to easily do partner integrations. And if you take a look at the Mobiflight website, you will see that there are some partner logos showing up on the front page who decided to build their products on top of the Mobiflight firmware. So instead of them having to reinvent the wheel, they said, wow, it's really cool that there's this open source project out there. I'm going to leverage this power and I will focus on what I'm doing best. I'm creating the device and the experience for the user. So one of the first guys who integrated with Mobiflight was this Octavi device. We have a special encoder integration for them. We have CoreFlight Technologies with their entire product line around the Boeing 737 components.
And also on Airbus now.
Yeah. And we have the Mini FCU, which was very everyone was very excited about the Mini FCU, a very successful Kickstarter project, who decided to use Mobiflight as an alternative firmware to make their product more flexibly configurable for the users, which was a very successful decision, actually, because the community only in about 2 weeks created a multitude of different profiles so that the Mini FCU would not only work with Airbus, but also with Cessnas and PMDG 737s and so on and so forth. So that is really cool. We have CAF simulations. Also, partially these partners are here at the venue. You can check out their booths with their products. This is also really cool with this authentic displays. This all is based on a new kind of improvement on the Mobiflight capabilities, which we call custom devices. And Thomas, he was the also one who is really familiar with custom device. So let us, tell us a little bit about custom devices.
Yeah, so custom devices are kind of a way to overcome the limitation when you have, of course, in Mobiflight, you can have like buttons and encoders and LEDs and 7-segment displays for showing data. But there's like a limited amount of things that you can do because, like, for example, you have a lot of OLED displays available for Arduino, and then it would be difficult to configure those like generically in Mobiflight because whatever you want to put there. So we have an option that you can use Mobiflight to connect to the simulator, but then there's an opportunity to write the rest of the firmware as an Arduino sketch yourself, where you can use like a graphics library to display text or graphics on the display, for example, or whatever else there is that is not supported by the main devices of Mobiflight.
Yeah, as we saw these custom devices for mini FCU or CAF displays, those are utilizing this feature. And this really unlocks a new level of creativity coming out of the community, and especially takes out the Mobiflight development team from the process, because we are not the ones that are becoming the bottleneck. People can ideate, people can create new device support, and I'm really, really excited about this feature. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to see some really cool stuff, coming from the community as new ideas.
And that's a kind of showcase for the custom devices. It was a collaboration between Sebastian and Ralph, who's developing on the firmware side, and me, who I'm just doing 3D design and 3D printing and that kind of stuff. And we decided to do kind of a recreation of the Garmin GNC 255 radio it has an OLED display for the frequencies. And we also have a new feature of Mobiflight that can read strings like text data from the simulator. So it actually, when you tune a radio station, if that is something that's in range on the simulator at that moment, it will also show the identifier and the kind of type of station. So you have like the tower and ground frequencies and those show up. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and it also shows the fidelity that you can reach with DIY tools. I mean, it's not like out of the world things. You went to the Hack Lab for some of the engraving, but this is all done by this guy. He's so good at this stuff. Yeah, he is so knowledgeable, and you can check it out at the booth. You should really come and take a close look. It simply looks fantastic.
Yeah,
congrats, really.
Thanks. And I mean, it looks nice. I have, of course, a ton of experience behind me, but it's all kind of self-made. So nothing like impossibly hard to figure out.
You're not a professional.
No, I don't have like field. Injection molding machine on my backyard or something.
But also like your background. Yeah, you kind of, this is all learning by doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then tell us a little bit about the tools that you were using also in the process for design and build, which is open source.
Yeah, so actually we had these slides a bit backwards, but I don't care. So the PC board, I made a circuit board for the design. It uses actually a Raspberry 2040 CPU. So it has like a Arduino built in to this circuit board. Then I designed this like 3D printed case to hold the buttons and everything on the screen in place. And that was done in FreeCAD. So, and what else?
It does not advance, unfortunately.
Yeah, something is a bit weird.
Okay, there you go.
Here we go. So the circuit board was done in KiCad, which is open source software as well, like FreeCAD. And I had it made for me because nowadays it's so easy to kind of order things when you design and you get stuff made.
I'm sorry, I have to walk over. I think the battery is...
The computer is acting up. Yeah. So KiCad.
So yeah, that was the 3 tools, right?
Yeah.
Ender should have been.
Yeah, like 3D. The case was 3D printed on an Ender 3D printer, which is also like an open source printer.
Yeah. Okay. So we saw there has happened a lot of things. a lot of exciting things since the last time that we were here at Lelystad. The community grew, the functionality of Mobiflight grew, but we don't want to stop there. So you might ask you what's next. And the really exciting thing that we are working on right now is, point at you, is the new UI. So this is an early prototype, but it has a completely new front-end framework, totally modern, really cool technology stack. And I'm experimenting with this already. It's going to be super much more interactive, very nice to look at, to render on different screen sizes. There will be a dark mode and such fancy stuff. A lot of cool things. And what I really like about this change is not only that this is going to improve the user friendliness, so the usability of the tool, but this will also be a huge thing for contributors, because now we have a modern stack which more people are knowledgeable about, and then they can decide to contribute to Mobiflight, which with the current framework that I was using, which was already dated, that was very that was always a hurdle to overcome.
Yeah, and it was also like really hard to do some things, and kind of the running saying was that, yeah, we'll do it on the next version of the UI, which is now happening, which is great.
So we're very excited about this. And if you want to check it out, I can also provide a sneak peek at our booth about this new UI. And I think that wraps it up. We already mentioned it a couple of times. Meet us at the booth. And for everyone who is here, you can advance one more. For everyone who is here tomorrow, there are a few spaces open. So we were coming here running last minute, because we got just out of one of the workshops, one of the 4 workshops that we are providing here during the weekend to teach people how to get started with building home cockpit components with the help of Mobiflight, and also to really show how easy it is. And if you're interested, approach us at the booth. If you're lucky, there might be space available tomorrow for one of the sessions. So with this, we say thank you. Thanks for having us. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to present Mobiflight to you, and enjoy the show here. And that's it.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Before we run away, do we have any questions from the audience? Yes.
You mentioned the custom devices functionality. Is it something that's already in, or something that you're still working on?
This is already included. So the question was, the custom devices, is this available as a feature already? Yes, it is, since version 10. And there is also a really cool repository template that you can start with, which gives you a nice outline, and which has some continuous integration pipelines and whatnot. So at the end of the day, you will end up with the zip file that you just have to drop into Mobiflight to make your custom device also available to other users.
Any further questions? Yes.
I'd like to see Mobiflight as a one-stop shop for home cockpit builds. Only the real question I have is, are there any plans to implement the little screens inside of Mobiflight so we can project some virtual instruments, or do we still have to do it only by encoders and surveys?
Okay, so the question is if there's going to be capabilities for software rendered gauges and information, because typically in a home cockpit you have this combination of physical hardware and then also some gauges that are on a screen where you have like a mask in front of it, something like Air Manager does. We have discussed this, but it's not really on the roadmap at the moment, because we know it's a huge undertaking. Because creating this library of gauges that you want to provide to your users, that's a big work. I was actually talking to the guys from Flight Gear this morning. They have a real big repository already, and it's also an open source project. So there might be a chance to collaborate.
The only problem for me is I'm building a helicopter simulator and there are no gauges for helicopters.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'd like to see one step where you can
Yeah.
open source with your own pictures or own thing, but only using the source code
Yeah. And I mean, this is also a very kind of advanced question. Feel free to approach us at the booth and we can discuss it further there. One last thing that I would like to mention, one very specific concrete idea though, is that we open up the data that Mobiflight works with via an API, which could also be a way to, approach your problem.
Amazing. Thank you ever so much. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Mobiflight. If you do want to see any more from them, please do go and find them at their booth, and it's really awesome stuff. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Callum.